さて
What is going on, guys? Evo just ended this last week, and hopefully those of you who were there got a chance to try Project L. I got a chance to do it, and God knows I wish I had the chance to play more, and ever since Evo ended, all I wish I did was be able to play the game more. But right before Evo, though, they did give us an announcement of a brand new character, and that is Yasuo. Which made me wonder, what are the rest of the characters going to be? Right now, we've only seen 6, technically 7 characters in Project L, and those characters are Echo, Ari, and Darius, as well as Jinx, Alawi, and of course the newly announced Yasuo. And even though we haven't seen her since the original announcement showing off the 1v1 version of Project L, we also have Katarina. But of course, this is nothing we didn't already know or haven't at least already seen in any of the trailers or even the playable version that we got a chance to try out at Evo for all these characters. But the real question is, and one thing I was wondering, who on earth is going to be the next characters that we're going to see? Well, I figured I'd try and answer some of that myself and think about what characters I think could make their way into Project L. Of course, the easy answer is just going to be a bunch of top laners, junglers, you know, the usual 1v1 characters. But where's the fun in that? I could probably just throw a dartboard at a couple of junglers and probably get a full list right there. But no, I decided what could be interesting is I'm going to do 1 top lane, 1 jungler, 1 mid lane, 1 ADC, and 1 support. I'm going to talk about one of each characters I figured, could be fun. And clearly, I didn't think they were going to put ADCs in the game, but hey, we got Jinx, so clearly they don't mind it being an AD carry or any role, so figured we could have some fun and talk about what characters we could see. And there's no better place to start than up in the top lane. And it may be the obvious choice, but what a better pick for a character for a fighting game than Sett. Now, Sett the Brawler, obviously kind of an obvious choice, but why Sett over other top laners? Because 1v1 duels, it's kind of, top lane is kind of an easy pick to just go a bunch of characters for, but why Sett specifically? Well, there aren't that many grapplers in League of Legends, because you've got a passive, you've got some basic auto attacks, you got some summoner spells, and you got 4 abilities. So there aren't exactly that many characters that you could ever really consider a grappler, and that makes it difficult to try and figure out what kind of moveset they're going to do. But I think Sett actually has a pretty good shot of being a grappler in Project L, and one of the few characters I think that actually could fit that bill. So what exactly do I think would happen with Sett in Project L? So the one part that makes him pretty damn scary would be if they do decide to make him a grappler. One of his abilities, his Q ability, Knuckle Down, actually makes him move faster when running towards an enemy. So if you pair that together with the idea of him being a grappler, then all of a sudden you have a character that wants to get in, wants to command grab you, and specifically moves faster when running at an enemy. And that's already pretty damn scary of an idea as is. One that I'm definitely not looking forward to, but it is an idea nevertheless. And then pair that together, of course, as well with his E, which acts in a way as a grab, and of course his big ol' ultimates. And he's kind of a clear choice of not only as a brawler character that could fit well in Project L, but as a character that actually could work as a grappler. And as we all know, that every character does. Thanks, League. Every character has a parry, of course. That is a core mechanic. But I think that Sett will be able to have himself a counter as well in the form of the Haymaker. So not only would he be a grappler character, one of the few I think in League of Legends that could be considered one, and probably could be turned into one, but he's also going to have the ability to run faster towards an enemy. He's going to have multiple different grabs. We'll have a counter, and I mean, come on. You gotta make this, if this is level 2 and a big old cinematic, who doesn't want to see that in a fighting game? I mean, come on. I'm not a big fan of grapplers, of course, but I definitely think Sett would be an amazing choice to end up going into Project L, and I think a highly likely that he will make it. Now then, let's talk junglers. So, just like the top lane, there were many options you could choose for this, because junglers, just like top lane, there's a lot about 1v1, a lot of dueling. Just like top lane, you got characters like Yone, like Riven, like Aurelia, like Jax, you have a lot of options. In jungle, you have a lot of options as well. You got characters like Elise, like Nidalee, like Kha'Zix, like Rengar, like Udyr. There's so many characters you could say could be really good picks for Project L. But the character I decided to talk about, and one of my favorite choices, both in League of Legends as well as for Project L, is Kayn. And now, why Kayn over someone like Kha'Zix or Rengar or one of these other choices? Well, for one, he's got a big-ass scythe, and, I mean, come on, who doesn't love scythe characters? Ruby and BlazBlue cross tag, Zasalamel and Soul Calibur. Who doesn't like a giant scythe in their fighting games? I mean, come on. Besides that, though, what could he bring into this game that other characters that have been shown off so far do not? Well, besides the fact that he's going to work as a pretty strong rushdown character, having some large normals along with, of course, with this scythe. He's going to have a dash, possibly that could become a Rekka. He's going to have like a ground. He's going to have either have something like this to be kind of like Morgan Super Mario vs. Capcom. Could be like an OTG. So many options are there. Along with, of course, you got possibly Vidal's dodge, Felicia's going leave the screen dodge. You have different ways to dodge with Kayn becoming intangible. But the main reason why I think Kayn would be really cool in this game, for something that isn't in every game, but it's typically really cool what it does, and that's the possibility of giving him an install. Either as a level 1, a level 2, or something entirely, they could give Kayn an install that won't change his moves. All of his moves will still be the same, but at the cost of however much they decide to do, 1 bar, 2 bars, 3 bars, his moves become different based on which form you choose. And the more assassin-like form, he becomes a faster character, both in terms of movement speed, as well as his attacks. Think of it kind of like a Berserker Rage of Wolverine. Everything just gets much quicker. Meanwhile, though, in his other form, his darkened form, unlike the other form, no speed up, no special speed up, anything like that. Instead, he's going to take a bit of something like Darius. His moves are going to do more chip damage, as well as just like his passive in this mode or in this form. In this game, his specials will be able to restore bits of health. Think kind of like Berserker and DNF Duel. So having a character that has an install super is something that you don't see very often, as well as a badass scythe. I think Kayn would be pretty damn cool in a game like Project L, and there's so much they could be able to do with him. Oh, come on, you knew it. Don't give me that look. Yeah, I see you. Don't you give me that look. I don't care who you thought this was going to be. Maybe Fizz, maybe Syndra, got some mages, got some assassins. You knew it was going to be Zed. You knew when we were getting to the mid lane, you knew who was going to be here, and that's the Shadow Assassin himself. And you know why with the Shadow Assassin himself? Because he's got himself a clone. And guess what? That shit copies what you do. And every single Marvel fan out there all cringes at the mere thought that Zed's going to be in this game. Because they're going to get some Morgan flashbacks, and all that's going to happen is pure mix-up torture. Project L seems to thrive on its 50-50s, its left-right, all of its mix-up options. And Zed would be king. Now, the only question is, would they do 2 clone-like characters? Echo, as we know, is already confirmed and is in the game. We see how his time warp works. We see it come out, and we see him tell right to it. So the question is, will they put him and Zed in the same game? Personally, I think, yeah, why not? Because they're going to work different ways. Echo's whole gimmick is based around the mix-ups of it. Zed, yes, has that option, of course. He summons his clone, and he has the ability to teleport to his clone and swap places. But the one thing, though, that Zed does do that Echo can't, is that's have his shadow do the same thing he does. Like I said, very Morgan-like from Marvel vs. Capcom. And that alone, I think, is going to make him unique enough in order to be able to venture putting him in this game. Besides that, he's just a pure-blooded assassin. Going to be quick. He's going to do good damage. If there's different health totals in the game, he's going to have 0 health. But as soon as his super comes out, you better fear pure mix-ups and high damage coming your way, because Zed's coming to play in Project L, and he's going to make sure that you die, and you're going to die quick. Alright, so now for the hard parts. So, top lane, jungle, mid lane. I mean, there are a good amount of options for all of them. I'm sure I probably could have just thrown a dart and at least found one that I could talk about, right? But if it wasn't for the fact that Jinx is already announced for Project L, I don't know if I even would have thought they would consider putting an AD carry, because it just doesn't seem right for a game like Project L. It really doesn't. But since we are going to go over every single role, and I want to do at least one for each in these 5 characters, I needed to pick one. So I was down to 2 options, Ezreal or Lucian. But thinking about which one I'd rather want to see in Project L, I'm going with Lucian. And now why Lucian? Simple. He is quick, has a dash. Going to be able to do possible left-rights with said dash, which immediately going to add to what Project L likes to do. And with that, at the same time with that dash, he's going to be able to zone really, really well. Which is something that we haven't really seen much of in Project L. We've seen Ahri go for her left right. We've seen Echo with his clone doing the left right. We've seen Darius with the apprehend into a mix up with command grab. We've seen Yasuo with these left rights and his giant wind wall, but what we haven't seen is any shot of zoning. And I think if they're going to add an AD carry, either Ezreal or Lucian would be a great choice of that, to give a possible option of zoning, be it with the giant laser, especially with this dash in order to play keep away, or if they don't want to make it a super, just doing a whole bunch of laser shots. Either way it would work. Project L doesn't have a zoner. There seems to always be at least one that at least tries to do the job. And of all the ADCs, I think Lucian not only will be one of the best at doing that job, but is my personal favorite AD carry, and I would love to see him in Project L. And last and most certainly the least, okay, no, not actually the least, I'm just joking. We got the support role. Now, what characters could be in the support role that could work in Project L? What we got instead is a little girl with a teddy bear. Now, why Annie, and what is she going to do in Project L? Simple. She's going to be the puppet character. She's going to be the character who's going to be able to use normals, use specials, all through a character that she is going to control. Now, those of you who play League of Legends knows exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who don't are probably very confused. Like what? She's a puppeteer? For what? So first off, she's a fire character. Could possibly do some chip damage through fire hitting, kind of like Fong's poison. Just a little bit of damage over time. But everything is going to be based solely around Tibbers. And that is one thing that Project L currently doesn't have that many fighting games do have. Enchantress, Zato, doesn't just puppet characters in general. A lot of games have one. Project L currently doesn't. So I could definitely see Annie making her way into Project L. And absolutely horrifying every single person who has to fight this monster of a teddy bear. And yeah, that is my list of 5 characters I think could be in Project L. Now, there are many, many, many characters in this game. Well over 100 at this point. Not all of them are going to be in Project L. Many of them I'm not sure could be in Project L, and I don't know if their kits would fit the fighting game. But at the same time, there are a lot more than just 5 that I think would fit well. So, what I want you all to do, if you are still listening, is if you enjoyed this kind of content and enjoyed the discussion on characters we could see in Project L, I want you to leave a like down on the video, as well as I want you to go down to the comment section, and I want to hear from you guys. What characters do you want to see in Project L? What characters you think could be in Project L? And whether or not you guys would want to see another list of 5 characters that I think could be in Project L. So until then, though, hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Until next time, I will talk to you guys later. Say hi to Tippers.